Christine McVie, Fleetwood Mac singer, songwriter, dies age 79. Christine McVie, who played with Fleetwood Mac and wrote some of their most famous songs, has died age 79, her family has said. English singer, keyboardist, and songwriter for British-American rock band Fleetwood Mac, Christine McVie was born Christine Anne Perfect on July 12, 1943 in the Lake District village of Bath, England, and grew up in the Bearwood area of Smethwick near Birmingham. Born into a musical family, McVie's father, Cyril Perfect, was an accomplished violinist and music lecturer at St. Peter's College of Education, Saltley. He remained active in the Birmingham Symphony Orchestra into his mid-80s. Her mother, Beatrice, was a medium psychic and faith healer. McVie's grandfather was an organist at Westminster Abbey. Introduced to the piano at the age of 4, McVie did not study music until age 11, continuing her classical training until age 15. She then shifted her musical focus to rock and roll. It is said that she became addicted to rock and roll from the very first time she looked through a Fats Domino songbook. While studying sculpture at Birmingham Art College, she got caught in the throes of the blues revival that was sweeping England. She made some duo appearances with Spencer Davis before he teamed with Steve Winwood and Muff Winwood for the ignition of the Spencer Davis Group. Christine then met Stan Webb and Andy Sylvester and joined them in the band, Sounds of Blue. By the time McVie graduated from college with a teaching degree, Sounds of Blue dismembered. McVie, unable to gather funds to find a place in the world of visual arts, took her teaching diploma to London, where she worked briefly as a department store window dresser for Regent Street Department Store. However, after learning Webb and Sylvester were scouting a pianist to join their band, Chicken Shack, she wrote them with a request to join. They invited her to play keyboard and piano and to sing backing vocals. Chicken Shack debuted with It's Okay With Me Baby, written by and featuring McVie. With 2 albums in, Chicken Shack found success with I'd Rather Go Blind, a song originally recorded by Etta James in 1967. The song featured McVie on lead vocals. McVie earned a Melody Maker Award for Female Vocalist of the Year and lauded for having one of the top 10 pairs of legs in all of Britain. While touring with Chicken Shack, the band would often meet with Fleetwood Mac. They shared the same label at Blue Horizon. Fleetwood Mac asked her to play piano as a session musician for Peter Green's songs on the band's second album, Mr. Wonderful. McVie left Chicken Shack after marrying Fleetwood Mac bassist John McVie. She continued her career with the recording of a solo album, Christine Perfect. Following her success as a member of Fleetwood Mac, the album was reissued under the name of the legendary Christine Perfect album. By the time she had joined Fleetwood Mac full-time, she had already contributed backup vocals and painted the cover for Clint House, the 4th studio album recorded by Fleetwood Mac. Peter Green had left the band, leaving Fleetwood Mac with reservations to perform live without him. Having been a huge fan of the Peter Green era Fleetwood Mac and versed in all the lyrics to their songs, she joined in. In 1974, with the band, McVie reluctantly relocated to the United States in an effort to make a fresh start. Within a year, Stevie Nicks and Lindsey Buckingham joined the band. With a new lineup, their first album together, titled Fleetwood Mac, found success with McVie's songs Over My Head and Say You Love Me, both reaching Billboard's top 20 singles chart. The band sold 4 million copies of Fleetwood Mac and over 15 million of its follow-up, Rumors. From the album, McVie's You Make Loving Fun found a place on the top 10, and Don't Stop peaked to the number 3. And years later became the song President Bill Clinton played for his presidential campaign, and at his 1993 inaugural gala, McVie and her bandmates performed there, as well as the Super Bowl a few days later. The success of Rumors earned the band many accolades. However, by the end of touring for the album, McVie divorced from John McVie. In 1979, the band released Tusk. The album was considered a disappointment, merely because it was impossible for any future releases to meet the success of Rumors. 3 years later, the band reunited to record Mirage, which featured the top 5 hit, Hold Me. McVie's inspiration for the song was her tumultuous relationship with Dennis Wilson, the drummer for the Beach Boys. Wilson drowned in an accident a few years later, leaving McVie heartbroken. In 1984, McVie released her second solo album, simply titled Christine McVie. The album featured the hit Got a Hold on Me, positioning in the top 10 pop and #1 adult contemporary. She also met keyboardist Eddie Quintella, 12 years her junior. They married 2 years later, October 1986. Although they divorced a decade later, they wrote several songs together, including Little Lies and As Long as You Follow, 2 songs that became hits for Fleetwood Mac. The solo album also features McVie's cover of Elvis Presley's Can't Help Falling in Love. The song was featured in the Howie Mandel film A Fine Mess, 1986. A year later, she reunited with Fleetwood Mac for the recording of the band's 14th studio album, Tango in the Night. The album went on to become the band's biggest success since Rumors, 10 years earlier. Always reluctant to tour, preferring to stay close to home and friends and family, and upon the death of her father while she was touring for Behind the Mask, Fleetwood Mac's 15th studio album, McVie made the decision to retire from touring altogether. In 1998, she reunited with the band for the release of the live album, The Dance, which reached #1 on the US album charts. The same year, despite her reservations, she toured with the band for the group's 1998 induction into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, as well as the Grammy Awards show and the Brit Awards. McVie returned to England to be near her family and stayed out of public view until 2000, when she appeared to accept an honorary doctorate in music from the University of Greenwich. 2000 also saw the release of In the Meantime, McVie's 3rd studio album. No tour was organized, but McVie delivered several press interviews in both Britain and the United States. In 2013, she appeared on stage in Maui, Hawaii, performing with the Mick Fleetwood Blues Band, her first live appearance in 15 years. Later, in September, McVie performed live with Fleetwood Mac in London, also for the first time in 15 years to perform Don't Stop. Shortly after, Mick Fleetwood announced during a concert in Maui that McVie would be rejoining the band. It was officially announced 2 days later she had rejoined. The original Rumors lineup, Nicks, Buckingham, Fleetwood, McVie, and McVie. In June 2017, McVie teamed up with Lindsey Buckingham for the recording and release of Lindsey Buckingham / Christine McVie. The album sold over 22,000 units in the US in its first week and debuted within the top 20. More successful in the UK, where it debuted within the top 5. McVie continued to record and perform live with Fleetwood Mac. Family. Inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1998 as a member of Fleetwood Mac. Ranked number 63 on VH1's 100 Greatest Women in Rock and Roll. Worked a little bit on Fleetwood Mac's 2003 album, but did not tour with them. Quit touring with Fleetwood Mac after the Dance tour in 1997. Announced her retirement from music when she married John McVie, but was coaxed out of it the next year by Fleetwood Mac, which up to the time had been an all-male band with a raunchy stage act. Fleetwood Mac was awarded a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame for recording at 6608 Hollywood Boulevard in Hollywood, California. The oldest member of Fleetwood Mac. She received the British Academy's Ivor Novello Award for Lifetime Achievement in 2014. Has no children. Had temporarily lived in an apartment in Malibu, California, right around the same time when Stevie Nicks and Lindsey Buckingham joined her band on New Year's Eve 1974. At the time, they were boyfriend and girlfriend. Drummer Mick Fleetwood made sure McVie felt that she could get along with Stevie before hiring them. Nobody wanted a situation where 2 women were bickering back and forth. Despite not being the founding member of Fleetwood Mac, she was the only member of this band to have written or co-written songs more than anyone else. McVie had written and sung 49 songs, is very good friends with George Harrison, Roger Daltrey, Pete Townshend, Tom Petty, Eric Clapton, Steven Tyler, Peter Green, Jeff Lynne, John Baez, Steve Winwood, Stevie Nicks, Mick Fleetwood, and Lindsey Buckingham, has a converted barn at her home in Wickham, Kent, England. The only member of Fleetwood Mac who was raised in an outright musical family where it was accepted and almost expected to pursue a career in music. The youngest child of a middle-class family, she has two brothers, John and Cyril. Was awarded the British Academy of Songwriters, Composers, and Authors Gold Badge of Merit in 2006. Once said in an interview, McVie is not listening much to pop music anymore and stated instead a preference for classic FM. For her song, Can't Help Falling in Love, featured in the movie A Fine Mess 1986, she asked Richard Dashut to act as her producer. He in turn said Buckingham would probably love to help out since he was a huge Elvis fan. She went on to recruit Mick Fleetwood and John McVie for her rhythm section, and 4 out of 5 of the band found themselves together in the studio and actually enjoying it. Paste magazine named McVie, together with Fleetwood Mac bandmates Lindsey Buckingham and Stevie Nicks, as the 83rd greatest living songwriter or songwriting team in 2006. After quitting Fleetwood Mac, McVie had left Los Angeles to return to London, England, where she purchased a mansion in the countryside to spend more time with her family and her father, whom she lost in 1998. Her birthplace, Greenodd, Lancashire, England, is 162 miles north of Birmingham, England, and nearly 85 miles west of Leeds, West Yorkshire, England. At a very early age, she learned how to play the cello from her father. She would also play that instrument in her school orchestra. At one point, her brother John was an entomologist with the government in England. When she married John McVie in 1968, Peter Green was the best man and was the only member of Fleetwood Mac that came to the wedding. Enjoys gardening and cooking. Is a Cancer. Songbird, later covered by the late Eva Cassidy, was recorded away from the studio at the University of California's Zellerbach Auditorium, giving it its distinctive soft distance. A self-proclaimed dog lover, in the 70s she bought a pair of Mercedes-Benz with her dog's names on the license plates. Wrote the song You Make Loving Fun, about her affair with the band's lighting director, Curry Grant. Christine McVie, Fleetwood Mac singer-songwriter, last words before she died. No one has ever properly understood me. I have never fully understood anyone, and no one understands anyone else.